Clueless is probably the most iconic movie of the 90s, and I've never seen it until now. Stop judging me and let's talk about it. Okay, so I may have lost the plot here, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but what the hell is this movie about? Is it about Cher becoming a better person? Is it a rom-com? Is it a teen high school coming of age film? Is it softcore? I need answers, and I need them right now. Now, as I'm watching this movie and I'm taking notes so that I can make this video, I noted that there was this weird, very bizarre sexual tension between Cher and her stepbrother Josh, right around this point of the movie. And again, kind of when she's going on that date. Imagine my surprise when I find out that I was in fact not being delusional, but there actually was sexual tension between Cher and Josh, who again is her stepbrother. No one, and I mean absolutely no one in this film sees a problem with this. With this? Like, y'all think we are delulu now? No. Those writers and directors in the 90s were delulu as hell. What the fuck is going on? Now that I've gotten that out of the way. There are also a lot of tropes in this movie. And when I say tropes, I mean sexist, racist tropes. And I don't really know what I was expecting or why I wasn't expecting that, because this is a movie from the 90s and that was just kind of the standard back then. From Stacey Dash's character saying that she doesn't want to wear Kmart extensions, or her boyfriend wearing these sagging pants that is very prevalent in the black community, probably 90s, early 2000s, maybe even some people still do it now. There is also something about the specific type of relationship dynamic. In my opinion, it resembles struggle love in a way. They're always arguing, they're never on the same page, but they stay in this relationship because apparently they actually do really love each other when no one is watching, whatever that's supposed to mean. At the very beginning of the movie, they're arguing about some girl named Shawana. We all know why they chose the name Shawana. That's like a ghetto black girl name. And then there's this.
Lucy, you know I don't speak Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican.
Lucy's from El Salvador.
So?
It's an entirely different country.
Oh, what does that matter?
Which I unfortunately think speaks for itself. There are also a ton of misogynistic things in this movie.
Is it that time of the month again?
And this tiny little waist.
Woman, let me $5.
Murray, I have asked you repeatedly not to call me woman.
Anything you can do to draw attention to your mouth is good. Sometimes you have to show a little skin. This reminds guys of being naked, and then they think of sex.
This isn't really a trope per se, but I wasn't expecting sexualized jokes to be in this movie because this is a movie about high schoolers.
My plastic surgeon doesn't want me doing any activity where balls fly at my nose.
Well, there goes your social life.
But let's be real, high schoolers were definitely saying it in the 90s. I definitely said it or heard it when I was in high school, and high schoolers are definitely saying it now. I just think that now you wouldn't see high schoolers depicted in this way versus in the 90s. Damn it, these high schoolers were depicted doing any and everything, apparently. All of that being said, I'm saying this based off of 2024 standards, and I know that cancel culture is stronger than ever. But I'm not really the type of person that sees something that came out literally 29 years ago, and I'm like, oh no, we need to cancel Clueless. We need to cancel these actors and these actresses. I'm not doing it. I'm just simply not going to do it. Because in my opinion, that is just a tiny bit ridiculous. The 90s were a completely different time. And I know people don't like to justify, if that's even the right word, things by saying, well, the times were just different. But you have to acknowledge that the times were different. If all of society was doing the same thing, then of course it wasn't seen as bad by society. So you simply cannot judge a 90s movie by its cover or by its contents based on 2024 standards. You have to judge it based on 90s standards. And based on 90s standards, this movie is pretty good aside from the stepbrother thing. I very recently, probably in the last year or so, started watching Seinfeld, and I'm watching it kind of on and off. Of course, that's a 90s sitcom. And some of the things that they be saying on there, I be like, ooh, like I'm clutching my 2024 pearls. But in the 90s, I wouldn't have done that. I would have been like, of course they made that joke on a sitcom. Some of the jokes are pretty bad as far as, you know, what the jokes are about. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I nickled a little at some of those jokes. And I feel like a lot of people would think that, they just won't admit it. I'll say it first, I laugh at some of those jokes that I probably shouldn't be laughing at when I watch Seinfeld because the jokes are still funny. Hey y'all, it's Nae. Welcome back to my little corner of YouTube. And welcome to, oh my god, I can't believe you've never seen that. It's a working title, but it's a title that works. This is a completely new series on my channel where I'm going to watch old but really popular movies that I've never seen, and I'm going to discuss them. Since this is the first video in this series, I kind of just want to talk about it a little bit. So people are always really shocked when they hear me say that I haven't seen a lot of popular movies, from A Clockwork Orange to Pulp Fiction, both of which I have seen for the first time recently. And what the fuck is going on in A Clockwork Orange? Now, just to clarify, a lot of these movies I have definitely never seen, but some of them I maybe just don't remember seeing. I've talked about the fact that my memory is pretty shitty for the most part, which kind of makes it hard to see how I talk about movies and TV shows because how would I remember anything? But it's because I write it all down. And truth be told, I think that the reason is because I had some childhood trauma, so a lot of my kind of childhood memories or memories of certain points in my life are just kind of blacked out in my mind. So I very well may have seen Clueless before and just did not remember. And that might be the case for a lot of these movies, but nevertheless, if I don't remember seeing it, then I haven't seen it. So I'm going to be talking about it in this series. Now, I am a 90s baby, but when this movie came out, I was literally a toddler, so of course I wasn't dressing myself. I know all of my Clueless knowledge from the Zeitgeist and from Iggy Azalea.
First things first, I'm the realist.
So I'm really excited to be talking about this movie from the POV of a first-time viewer. And I'm even more excited to be wearing this outfit right now. Now, y'all not gonna... Okay, I'm sitting down in this video, so y'all not gonna see the outfit for real, but let me just... Like, are we serious? Please. Come on. Like, am I not eating y'all up right now? Okay. Now that we kind of talked about the 90s things that we might consider questionable by today's standard, let's talk about some of the 90s things that I absolutely loved about this movie. The intro to the movie is so 90s. I loved it. It did look like a Noxzema commercial. I had to look up what Noxzema was. I had no idea, but I did look it up, and it does kind of look like a Noxzema commercial. So the intro was great. The music is great. The way that Cher picked out her outfits was fantastic. I want that. 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. All of this is very 90s. That Mentos commercial. Hearing that song and seeing Brittany Murphy sing it took me right back.
Fresh goes better with Mentos, fresh and full of life.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
Do you know how many times I heard that song growing up? Mentos fresher. Like I was when I heard her sing that song, I was like, oh, I just got blasted to the past. And then I saw the guy in the commercial with his like little Mentos thing. I was like, yeah, this is very nice. You don't get more 90s than a Mentos commercial because I don't even know if they make commercials like that anymore. And then we had Dee and Murray looking at the map book. Is it called a map book? To figure out how to get to the party. Something that would not make any sense to someone that has never had to print out directions on how to get somewhere. Or have an actual book of maps with your city to help you get to places. And I even think that book is before my time. I don't ever remember seeing my parents have a book of maps, and I've definitely never used a book of maps. But I do remember as a kid, my mom telling me to print out the directions from MapQuest. So that much I remember. Luckily, when I started driving, GPS was already a thing. Because let me tell you, I can't get around anywhere. I have lived in LA my entire life. I don't know where anything is because I don't need to because I have GPS. Like, I could probably navigate you to one or two places, but don't ask me how to get there for real, because I'm just not going to be able to tell you. So all of that stuff is great, very 90s, but of course, we're going to talk about the outfit, because clearly I hit up my boy Jeff Bezos and went to buy this entire outfit just to record this video. So I guess I'm going to be Cher this year for Halloween, because I'm not going to waste it. I think we can almost all agree that 90s style is kind of top tier. And then the Doc Martens that Brittany Murphy had on, obsessed. I want those Docs. Actually, this movie kind of made me a little bit annoyed that my computer is not helping me pick my outfits. It was so seamless. It was like, this doesn't match, that doesn't match. But I feel like with AI, we're mere steps away from that. Like, ChatGPT might be helping me pick an outfit next week. We just don't know yet. I know I mentioned Brittany Murphy, and I really, really love this cast. I pretty much only knew that Stacey Dash was in this film. So when I saw Brittany Murphy, I was kind of shocked. And then I got a little sad, obviously, because she is no longer with us. May she rest in peace. That did make me a little sad when I saw her. I was like, oh, damn. Wasn't expecting her to be in this movie. Pretty much, I always thought that this movie was about two rich girls, but I didn't know what the actual storyline was. And again, after watching the movie, I still don't know what the hell the storyline is about. That may be the point, though. Maybe the whole Clueless thing isn't just about the girls being clueless. Maybe the audience is supposed to be clueless about what the hell is going on. And I don't mean that in a shady way. I'm saying that that's by design. It's supposed to be a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously. Maybe this movie isn't really about a particular thing. Maybe it's just about Cher and Dee and them kind of going through their lives doing regular life stuff. And maybe that's why she ends up dating her stepbrother at the end of it. In the same way that Seinfeld is a show about nothing, and that's not really something that you would understand until you watch a season or two of it, Clueless is very much a movie about nothing. There are these kind of random one-off scenes that don't really add to the plot or drive the story forward or anything like that. For example, they have this really dramatic freeway scene where Dee accidentally gets on the freeway and she doesn't know how to drive, and it's this whole thing, and they're screaming at the camera. But does that really do anything for the plot? Maybe, but not really. Cher is failing miserably at flirting with this obviously gay man. There's also this scene where Ty is being held over the banister, I guess, at the mall by these two guys, which seems and feels really dramatic in the moment, but again, what does it actually do to drive the story forward? Not much. Or even Cher getting robbed. Like, yeah, it may have added something to the story because Josh had to come pick her up. But like, did she really need to be robbed at gunpoint? No, she didn't. Like, that didn't make sense. But again, I kind of don't think that this is a movie that was supposed to really have a point. I don't know. Maybe I should look into what people were saying about this movie in the 90s, because I feel like it's such a part of pop culture now that people just kind of remember it as being a part of pop culture. They remember the outfits, they remember as if, and they remember the one-liners and things like that. But they don't remember that the movie didn't make any sense. They literally have lost the plot. They also all spoke in these kind of high-pitched voices.
Yeah?
As if.
Josh, please! Come on, Josh! Come on.
Which you may hear my voice and be like, girl, you sound just like them. But I don't really know. I'm obviously, as I've said many times, an LA native. And this isn't even a Valley girl voice, because Beverly Hills is not in the Valley. They're not from the Valley. So I don't really know which LA dialect they were going for, but that's the one that they gave them. Now, this is a little random, but I'm really bad with faces, or so I've been told. Sometimes I'll see two different celebrities and I'll be like, oh, aren't they kind of the same person, or don't they really look alike? And sometimes my friends will be like, yeah, they look alike, but sometimes they'll be like, girl, this person's over here, this person's over here, and you trying to make them one. I understand that I may have a facial recognition issue, but I really did think that the actress who plays Cher was the same actress who plays Marcia in the Brady Bunch movie, and apparently those are two different people. But I thought it was her. I was like, oh, she did Brady Bunch and Clueless, but they're not the same person, so just throwing that out there. Now, I've never heard anyone mention this, but I'm sure someone has had to say it because to me it's blatantly obvious. But I feel like Mean Girls, the original 2004 Mean Girls, pays homage to Clueless in several different ways. We have the new student Ty, who kind of gets adopted by these two people, Cher and Dee, and they take her around and they show her the different cliques of the school, the same way that we have in Mean Girls the new girl Katie, and she kind of gets brought in by Janice and Damien. And they show her the cliques and they show her the plastics, and it's this whole thing. The scene where Cher gets out of the car because Elton is trying to kiss her and she's like, as if, I want no parts of this. He kind of slowly follows her in the car, and of course we see that same thing in the original Mean Girls when Damien is driving the car after they crashed Katie's party and found out that she didn't go to Janice's art show. When they're sitting at the lunch table and Dee is asking Cher about the butter on her croissant, I guess, and Cher's like, oh, I found out that if I cut the croissant into small pieces, then I can better count the calories, or whatever it is that she says.
Are you sure that's fat-free?
Oh, yes. And you lose weight by doing it like this, like cutting it really small.
Regina George does the same thing where she's trying to calculate how many calories is in all of her food so that she can lose weight, and, you know, that's when Katie gives her the bar and says, oh, these will be great for losing weight, which turns out that they weren't. And then we have the new girl kind of overtaking the popular girl, although not as strongly as in Mean Girls, but she kind of becomes the popular one, and Cher gets pushed out just a little bit.
Why am I even listening to you to begin with? You're a virgin who can't drive.
Which, like, this damn near took me out. Like, why does it feel like such a burn? Imagine the new girl who you made popular coming at you and being like, that's why you're a virgin who can't fucking drive, bitch. I would simply have to drop out of high school because there's no way that I'm gonna let you talk to me like that. I also don't know if anyone else caught this, although this movie is so old, so I'm sure plenty of people have, but again, these are my thoughts as someone watching it for the first time. And this is very niche, but in 1968, Stanley Kubrick released a movie called 2001: A Space Odyssey. And that is my literal favorite movie about space. Yes, I love 2001: A Space Odyssey more than I love Interstellar, and I will fight you about it. And 2001: A Space Odyssey is a movie that is referenced pretty fucking often in cinema. It's a pretty iconic movie. So if you like space movies and you haven't seen it, highly suggested. It's a little bit of a slow burn because it's a movie from 1968. It's not going to cater to the quickness and the instant gratification of today's standards, but the movie is fantastic. I've seen it several times. I absolutely love it. But anyway, when Cher is waiting for Christian to call her back, she's kind of looking at, I guess, the answer machine or the phone, whatever it is, this black box, and this music is playing. That is a scene right out of 2001: A Space Odyssey, where I don't want to ruin the movie, but there's this black box that they kind of discovered, and it made the nerd in me so happy. As an LA native, I did enjoy the parts of the movies that are just kind of like, if you know, you know. For example, when Cher is at that party and she's talking to her dad and he's like, you're getting ready to miss curfew, you better get your ass back in this house soon. And she's like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make it. And he's like,
Cher, I expect you to walk in the store in 20 minutes.
Well, it might take longer than that, Dad.
Everywhere in LA takes 20 minutes.
anyone who's from LA or grew up in LA before it became way overpopulated knows that it takes about 20 to 30 minutes to get anywhere in LA. The only thing that makes it worse is traffic, and that traffic can take you from a 20-minute drive to an hour, hour 15, hour 30 drive. I remember in 2020 at the height of the lockdown when nobody was on the road, sometimes I would take drives just to get out of the house. I would drive to the city that I work in, drive back home, stuff like that. It took me about 35 minutes to get from the city that my job is in back to my house when there was no one on the road. Solid 30 to 35 minutes during what would be rush hour if it was a regular day. That same drive right now during rush hour will take me an hour and 30 minutes at least. And that's not if there's an accident, if cops slowing the traffic down. So yeah, everything in LA really is about 20 minutes apart. I also really love seeing all these houses that I'm pretty sure are actually in LA. I'm pretty sure this was actually shot in LA, at least the scenery of it all, because I've driven down those streets many times and I recognize those houses as houses that are in Beverly Hills. I had to start this series off with this movie because of all the movies, when I say I haven't seen that, I feel like this one gets the most visceral reaction from people. They're like, how have you not seen that? It's iconic. Get you a life, bitch. Like, what are you doing? And I will say I do feel a little bit more in tune with pop culture now that I have seen it. I think this sound was trending on TikTok, I don't know, maybe a year ago or something.
Ew! Get off of me! Ugh, as if!
And I had no idea that it came from Clueless. I don't know how often I'm going to be doing this series. It's not something that's going to be weekly. It's just something that is going to be a recurring series on my channel. If you have any old but popular movies that you would like me to talk about, let me know, because I probably haven't seen them. I already have a pretty solid list of movies that I want to do for this series, so it just depends on when I watch them, when I script, and when I sit down to record. And I'll probably just drop them throughout the remainder of the year when I don't have anything else going on, so it'll be an ongoing series. And I'm always open to taking requests. Aside from that, I am officially back from break. I don't know that I'm going to be posting a video next week because I'm getting ready to talk about another reality show. I don't know if you guys watch this. I'm going to be talking about The Mo Season 2. It's coming out on Netflix on the 28th of this month, I believe. So I'm going to be talking about that. And I believe that's going to be the week after next, or maybe the week after next. I don't know. I don't technically have any videos planned for the next 2 weeks. I knew that I wanted to come back with this one. So we will see what happens with that. But I actually do want to have a movie night soon, so pay attention to the community tab because I'm going to be posting about it on there. And until then, I'll see y'all next time. Bye! Have y'all listened to Billie Eilish's? I never know if it's Eilish or Eilish. I don't know, but have y'all listened to the album? It's so good. I did not become a fan, and I use that word loosely, of Billie until the Barbie movie came out, and I heard, What Was I Made For? What Was I Made Of? What Was I Made For? In the Barbie movie, and I was like, this song is fucking amazing. Who sings this? Billie. And then I started kind of listening to some of her older tracks, and it just so happened that she had this album coming out, and I was like, well, I've been liking her music. I'm gonna check out this album. I'm obsessed. It's one of those rare albums in this day and age where you can listen to it without skipping a fucking song. And I'm an official Billie fan now, so I don't know. I felt like I need to share that with y'all. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye. Oh, my granny called me. Granny, I'll call you back. I was about to say Poda Gesso. I haven't seen that either. Puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the ash again. It puts the lotion on its skin or else it gets the ash again. Where's the lotion? As if. Sorry. I'm really into this. I'm very excited. I've never officially cosplayed for a video before, but we're about to get into it, okay? That person never mows their lawn until I turn my camera on, I swear. You don't even have that much grass, I guarantee it. What's her name? Dee and Maury. That Dee and Maury have? Insert I'm so fancy right there. Mentos Fresh and Fun. Mentos, the Fresh Maker. Is it Fresh Maker? I don't know what they say. I think it's Fresh Maker. That's not what I said. Oh.
My hands shaking like I need